It is a great pleasure to speak in this debate because I feel that we have somewhat lost the plot here in Parliament, because I've done a lot of survey canvassing throughout my constituency, all my major towns like Honiton, Tiverton, Cullompton, Seaton, Axminster, and as far as people are concerned, they voted in 2016, they voted to leave. They had the people's vote and they have decided. What they can't understand is why we haven't actually left, or we're going to leave on the 29th of March. They really don't understand it at all. And what I can't understand from one or two of my honourable friends is why, when we have got a really strong economy, when we've got growing economy, growing employment, want to spend money on the health service, education, police, that we don't actually just get on with that, leave the European Union. Because I was a Remain voter, but in the end, the European Union is becoming more federal, it's becoming an institution that we will want to leave. But we want to leave with a deal and a trade deal. So we would have thought we could have done it. We could have all joined together. And can I tell you why in the past I've supported the Prime Minister? Because one, I believe she's right, and two, I can't go into the opposite lobbies when I've got a great deal of time for the honourable member for Exeter, and if he was here, I would say the same thing. But he stands in the lobby like a big spider. And of course, you know what spiders do to flies? Spiders eat flies. And so in trot our extreme position on a different type of deal for Brexit. In they walk the same lobby as the honourable member for Exeter. But the honourable member for Exeter is quite clear that he doesn't actually want to leave the European Union. He wants to revoke Article 50 and remain in the European Union. My colleagues going in there with this spider, they actually want to have a much tougher Brexit. They don't like the deal that's on the table. They're completely contrary positions. And so I think this Parliament and my own party has actually got to decide, does it actually want to actually go along quite rightly with what the British people said, with what we stood. I stood in the manifesto to deliver Brexit, like all my colleagues, like actually all the Labour Party also did the same. But all we're doing is thwarting Brexit. You might wrap it up in all sorts of different clothes, but that exactly is where we are. So therefore, I think we have to come together and actually vote, believe it or not, for the Prime Minister's deal. Because the Prime Minister's deal, Mr. Speaker, is a withdrawal agreement. It's not a trade agreement. It leads to the trade agreement. It means we leave in an orderly fashion. It means our businesses can trade abroad borders. We won't have the problem in Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland that lambs may be charged a tariff coming into Northern Ireland and not going out, or vice versa. All of the problems that can happen to our businesses, and we've got travel agreements with the withdrawal agreement so that we can travel, human rights, workers' rights, all of those things are in this withdrawal agreement. And all we spend our time in this House is nitpicking, just to see what we can find that's wrong with it. It's a bit like selling a house, Mr. Speaker. You take ages trying to sell this house. You can't get the price for it. And as soon as you've sold it, a whole load of people come along and say, we'll have paid you more for it. Everybody's got a different idea, but they're not actually doing the negotiations. And as far as my residents are concerned, and I reckon most residents of most constituencies in this country, they just want the deal done. And they just believe that we just make it complicated. They believe that there is a majority in this House that voted for Remain, and so therefore we will not carry out the wishes of the people. Now, I voted Remain, but I will carry out the wishes of the people, because I believe we need to leave, and leave with a deal. And the Prime Minister, we like to lambaste the Prime Minister all the time in this place. I go out again on the streets and talk to my residents, and there I can assure you the Prime Minister is actually very popular still. They actually think she was dealt a very bad hand of cards, and all we have done has made it more difficult. So I think, you believe it or not, and you will laugh at me all when I say this, I think that withdrawal agreement will come back once more. And I actually believe it might well go through this House, because the British people expect us to leave on the 29th of March.
Sarah Wollaston.